The man I loved promised to build me a life of light and glass. Instead, he constructed a cage so exquisite I didn't see the bars until I was bleeding against them. The final bar snapped not with a shout, but with the gentle chime of a text message that wasn't meant for me. I watched it bloom on his locked screen, face up on the bathroom counter while he showered. Can't wait to see you tonight. This house feels like a museum. Yours, always. The sender was saved as V. Clarke, client, but the intimacy of the words hung in the steam-filled air, a confession written in mist. My name is Elara Vance. This is the story of how I learned that the most beautiful foundations can hide the deepest cracks. My husband, Sebastian, was a star in the world of modernist residential architecture. I was his inspiration, his serene artist wife, the calming counterpoint to his relentless ambition. We lived in the Vance Glass House, his masterpiece on Silver Pine Lake, featured in magazines. Our life was a curated portfolio. Sebastian, dark-haired and intense, me, Elara, the ethereal painter, and our world, a beautiful vacuum. His new business partner, Vivian Clarke, entered our lives 3 years ago. She was a structural engineer, hailed as a prodigy. "Elara, you'll adore her," Sebastian insisted. "She has your soul, but with steel in her spine." I found the comparison odd, but tried to adore her. Vivian was magnetic, sharp, witty, with a gaze that felt like it was calculating load-bearing walls even during casual conversation. She began joining us for working dinners that stretched late into the night, their conversations a rapid-fire duet of cantilevers and coefficients of thermal expansion that left me smiling politely, adrift. The signs were not stones, but subtle shifts in the soil. Sebastian started a rigorous new fitness regime, matching Vivian's. He developed a sudden passion for minimalist electronic music, her favorite genre. He'd critique my latest floral watercolors with a distracted, "Lovely, darling," while praising Vivian's engineering schematics with a fervor that bordered on devotion. I felt myself being gently and expertly edited out of my own narrative. After the text message, I didn't confront. I became an archivist of my own demise. I created an encrypted digital journal, Project Blueprint. I documented his new habits, his unexplained absences masked as site inspections at remote locations. The first major piece of evidence came from a literal accident. Sebastian, rushing to meet Vivian for a client summit, backed his precious vintage Alfa Romeo into our mailbox. He was too distracted to get it properly repaired at his usual specialist. Desperate, he asked my younger brother, Milo, a wizard with machines, to make it drivable. Milo found more than a dent. Tucked deep under the passenger seat, dislodged by the impact, was a single, delicate jade hair clip. I recognized it instantly. I'd admired it in her hair at our last dinner party. Milo also extracted the car's GPS data. It showed regular late-night trips not to construction sites, but to a luxury condo building downtown, the very building Sebastian's firm had recently finished, and where Milo's quick search revealed Vivian Clarke owned a penthouse unit. Confronted with the hair clip, Sebastian spun a masterful lie. He looked me in the eye, his expression pained. "Vivian's been struggling, Elara. She's in an abusive relationship. She's been using my place, the vacant unit in the Orion building, as a refuge. She must have left that clip there. I was trying to help. I didn't want to burden you with her trauma." It was so plausible, so noble. For a few weeks, I drowned in guilt for my suspicion. He was being a protector. I redoubled my efforts to be the perfect, understanding wife. This period of trust gave me unparalleled access. He let his guard down. One night, using a password I'd seen him enter, our wedding date, a bitter irony, I accessed his portfolio cloud. Amid the blueprints, I found a folder named Elysium. Inside weren't architectural plans, but a life. Photographs of Sebastian and Vivian hiking in Iceland, their smiles easy. Receipts for couples massages at a remote spa. And most damningly, digital sketches of a house, a stunning, radical cliffside design. Scrawled in the margin in his handwriting, "Our Forever Project," for V, the true north. He'd stopped designing our future years ago. He'd been blueprinting hers. The explosion, when it came, was private. I presented the Elysium file on his tablet. His face cycled through shock, rage, and finally, a chilling indifference. "You wouldn't understand it, Elara. What Vivian and I have, it's a meeting of minds, of purpose. You and this," he gestured vaguely at our beautiful, empty house. "You're a beautiful still life. But a still life is, by definition, dead." He moved out that night, into the Orion building. The town was abuzz. The story, expertly seeded by Sebastian, was one of an amicable, sad parting. The brilliant creator outgrowing his tranquil muse. Our friends, part of his professional ecosystem, sided with him. I was quietly frozen out. The humiliation was a public, silent scream. I saw the pitying glances at the farmer's market, heard the sudden silence when I entered the local cafe. Then the magazine feature hit. The new power duo, Sebastian Vance and Vivian Clarke, redefining symbiosis. There they were, in hard hats and sleek black, standing before the model of the Orion building. The article gushed about their creative and romantic synergy, calling Vivian his structural soulmate. I was erased, not even a footnote. I sold the glass house. It bought me freedom and a crumbling, century-old boat rights workshop on the rocky, forgotten western shore of the lake. I named it the Foundry. It was here I stopped painting and started forging. I traded watercolors for molten glass and salvaged metal. My art became physical, tough, transformative. I learned to use a blowtorch, a kiln, a welding mask. My first series was Structural Failures, seemingly elegant glass sculptures that contained hidden fault lines, mirrors that reflected only fractured images. I also went back to school online, not for art, but for forensic accounting and digital archiving. Sebastian thought me a dreamer. I would become a meticulous investigator of my own life. I launched the Foundry's Instagram, not as Elara Vance, but as Kaylin, a pseudonym. I posted videos of the raw, fiery process of creation, the cathartic smash of old glass, the welding of broken steel. My captions spoke of recasting narratives and the integrity of materials. Slowly, a following grew, people drawn to the metaphor of radical reconstruction. A year into my exile, I received an email inquiry through my website. It was from a renowned reclusive art patron named Elara Vance. He was building a private museum dedicated to art of metamorphosis and had been captivated by my Structural Failures series. He wanted to commission a monumental, site-specific centerpiece. His offer was staggering. His only condition, absolute secrecy and a site visit to understand the space. When I arrived at the breathtaking cliffside construction site, my blood ran cold. I recognized the architecture. It was the Elysium house, the design from Sebastian's secret folder. This was their forever project. Elara Vance, an elegant man in his 70s, met me. He said, "This will be my legacy gallery. The architects tell me it's a testament to perfect union. I want your piece to speak to the heart of that, to the hidden tensions that make union meaningful. The universe had handed me a stage inside my own nightmare. I accepted the commission. For 8 months, I worked in utter secrecy. My piece was titled The Load-Bearing Truth. It was a colossal, breathtaking mobile meant to hang in the gallery's double-height atrium. From afar, it was a beautiful, abstract representation of a DNA helix or a twisting architectural form made from hand-blown glass and forged titanium. It caught the light spectacularly. But its true nature was revealed by the patron's request. Alistair, as part of his museum's theme, had asked that the artwork be interactive. Using a dedicated app on a provided tablet, visitors could input a date. On that date, subtle interior LED lights within the sculpture would activate, causing specific glass elements to glow and project hidden text onto the surrounding walls. The text was drawn from the Elysium file, from Sebastian's private journals I'd later recovered, from the GPS logs. Lines like, "A still life is, by definition, dead," and "Her understanding is a decorative veneer," and "True north is not a direction on a marital compass." The dates corresponded to our wedding anniversary, the day my father died, the day Sebastian had sworn he was at a site inspection in another state. The gala opening was the event of the decade. The glitterati flocked to Sebastian and Vivian's magnum opus. I arrived as Kaylin, the mysterious artist, dressed in a tailored black suit, my hair cut sharp. Sebastian and Vivian, holding court, didn't recognize me at first. When they did, the blood drained from Sebastian's face. Vivian's smile tightened into a rictus. Alistair Thorne gave a speech. "Tonight we celebrate not just a building, but the art within. The extraordinary centerpiece by Kaylin explores the very theme this house embodies: partnership. I encourage you all to interact with it." People flocked to the tablets. The first date input was, inevitably, the building's own completion date. The sculpture glowed, but no text appeared, a murmur of confusion. Then, a well-known society columnist, known for her love of drama, decided to input the date from the magazine article featuring the power duo. The lights shifted. A soft, beautiful glow emanated from a central glass node and projected onto the stark white wall in an elegant font were the words, quote, "The press makes a useful veneer for the wrought beneath," end quote. A gasp went through the crowd. Sebastian froze. Vivian whispered fiercely to him. People started inputting random dates, birthdays, holidays. On some, beautiful, poetic phrases about light and space appeared, seemingly about architecture. On others, the dates from my secret archive, the truth spat out like poison. Quote, "Museums are for relics. I am building a living thing with Vivian." Quote, "Love is not a foundation. It is a decorative sentiment." End quote. The room descended into a chaotic, thrilling scandal. People were racing to find dates that triggered the brutal truths. The beautiful, glowing sculpture was now a chandelier of condemnation, casting the shadow of their private betrayals on the walls of their public triumph. Alistair Thorne found me in the corner. His eyes were sharp, not shocked. He leaned in. "My late wife was much like you. An artist underestimated by a man who preferred mirrors to windows. Vivian Clarke is my niece. She sent me your structural failure series a year ago. I recognize the man she described in her own triumphant calls. This," he gestured to the swirling scandal, "was my commission. Consider your fee doubled." He had not been my patron. He had been my co-conspirator. The fallout was nuclear. The scandal wasn't just infidelity. It was the grotesque juxtaposition of their public branding as soulmates with his private contempt for me. Clients fled. The Architectural Review Board opened an ethics inquiry into their professional conduct given the misuse of firm resources for the Elysium project. The magazine issued a retraction. Their relationship, built on stolen intimacy and shared superiority, imploded under the weight of public humiliation and legal jeopardy. They blamed each other. The Forever project was sold at a loss to cover legal fees. Sebastian, his reputation in tatters, tried to contact me. He left a voicemail, his voice broken. "Elara, it was a madness. You were my true north. The house, our house, it's empty." I deleted it. My true north was no longer a person, but a principle, my own integrity. The Foundry is now a celebrated artist residency and studio. The load-bearing truth became a legendary piece of conceptual art, studied for its fusion of technology and raw emotion. I am with someone now, a historian who loves me for my scars and my steel, who asks about my process and then listens, truly listens to the answer. The last laugh is not cruel. It is the sound of my kiln firing at dawn. It is the quiet clink of a glass of wine with Alistair, now a dear friend. It is the profound peace of knowing that the man who told me I was a dead still life was wrong. He was the preservationist, trying to freeze me in a moment of his own making. I was the alchemist, and I turned the base metal of his betrayal into a life of pure, unbreakable gold. Sometimes the most powerful blueprint is the one you draw for your own escape. If you have ever had to rebuild from a foundation of lies, comment "alchemist" below. This story wasn't about taking his house, it was about building my own fortress. For more tales of quiet revelation and the art of elegant reckoning, hit subscribe. Before the sculpture ever lit up, there were months in the dark with a blowtorch, learning how to bend glass without breaking it. That's where the real transformation happens. Thank you for listening. Remember, you are not the museum of someone else's choices. You are the living, breathing artist of your own life. Until next time.